This right here is the Salt Lake City Temple. Utah is famous because of, partially, these massive structures. But tonight, I'm not here for the temple, as grand as it is. I'm actually in Salt Lake City for this festival. It's called In the Beehive, and this is actually shorthand for what the name used to be, which is Psychedelics in the Beehive. Now, number one, I didn't realize that there was a psychedelic festival happening in Utah, right? Utah's not the place that you think of as being a central hub for a psychedelic community. So, I wanted to learn a little bit about what this event was, who attends this event, and what makes it unique. Let's go check it out. Technically, this event should be happening here, which right behind me, if you come take a look, is the Utah Museum of Contemporary Art. But I just went inside, and unfortunately, it looks like the Museum of Contemporary Art is currently stopping all sorts of showings due to an ICE protest that is happening across the entire state. So there's a freeze where public installations like Acid West, or Altered States in the Acid West, which is an art exhibit that was part of this program, are no longer being held here. So since that event was canceled, we're gonna go straight to the first event on the itinerary, which is Party Night. I'm going to bring the volume down for a little bit and tell you a little bit about what you're seeing. So across Utah, there are these installations called dreamscapes. This is not the Acid West art installation I was talking about earlier in the video, but this is a separate event that is part of the schedule. So while the Dreamscapes event isn't necessarily the same as the Utah art exhibit, you can tell this partnership kind of makes sense. These dreamscapes are all over Utah. You can find them everywhere, not just a part of psychedelic events, and I highly recommend you check them out. They're really, really cool. But all in all, the party that was happening was actually kind of the most boring event of the entire festival. So I'm actually going to fast forward to Saturday, where the majority of the events that most people that are a part of this community actually came to take part in. So day 2 of the festival was really interesting for me, mostly because it felt a lot like a convention. You've got different speakers and, of course, a lot of your classic psychedelic stuff like cool visuals, but just a lot of people sharing their experience, and almost like a business festival where people from all different walks of life are coming to learn about best practices in the space. I'm going to let this footage run here for a little bit, and then we'll get into some interviews that I had with people.
Among the group that allow a sense of fealty of my tribe, which allows the potential of this animosity to their tribe. That very basic possibility of ritual means.
Hey, cute.
Hey, so it's late at night and I'm still editing this footage, and I'm realizing now that I didn't ever tell you guys the main thing that I came down here to do, which is to talk to people. So I ended up recording a lot of interviews, and there's just so much in these interviews. I'm gonna have to cut some of these. So what I'm going to do is all of these conversations that I had with people at the Psychedelic Festival, I'm going to upload them to a separate playlist, and you guys will be able to watch the entire very lightly edited interviews. But I think these interviews There was a lot of nuance that I wasn't really expecting from a psychedelic festival. And I got some really cool people that I think you're gonna love seeing the conversations that we had. So check it out. Here we go. So, Kat,
Yes.
tell me your story.
Well, my birthday was supposed to be my 6 months terminal diagnosis, and that was October. So
Wow.
November, December, January, February. So I'm a few months past that now. Um, I had some hip pain. I went to go see the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Oh, it's probably muscle something. Wait a month, and if it doesn't go away, then we'll get you into sports medicine." And my doctor actually retired in that month period. And I went to go see the sports medicine doctor, and kind of put me off. And he wanted me to do imaging, but he wanted me to do imaging with the place that he does the imaging, and it was a big mess. And so it was like months before I actually got my imaging. And they called me that day and told me, "You've got a tumor."
Wow.
But it's more than likely that it's not cancer. And then the very next day they called me and told me it was cancer.
Oh no.
Yeah, and went in and got the tumor tested, and it was a really rare form of cancer. I'm the 91st person to have this. It's a leiomyosarcoma bone primary, and every other person that's had this exact cancer within 90 days were bedridden. My community of people around me come together. My friends Joe and Chris that own my cell mushrooms, they immediately jumped on board and got me on the turkey tail supplements, which I'm absolutely convinced that's what the difference is. Yeah. And then my friend Ederson, he's been giving me massages. He was massaging me before the diagnosis. And then through the diagnosis, he's the one that he's like, "Your muscles are fine." And they're trying to tell me it's nerve stuff and that I'm not going to walk. And he's like, "No, it's your muscles. You're good. You're fine." And I'm still walking. And so many people have stepped up to just be there for me. We had a fundraiser for me, and so many people. It's been incredible. And sometimes you just know stuff. Then I just know I get through this. I don't know how. It sounds crazy, but I just know.
I can just tell by talking to you, you're a beautiful soul.
Thank you.
Can I hold your hand?
Here,
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Here, me and my partner Corvus, we do all sorts of weird, wacky stuff, and we're full-time artists, and life just kind of dumped us into that, and it's what we wanted.
Wow. Yeah.
And we're still doing it. I'm not nearly as capable as I used to be, but
yeah,
we're still doing it. We're here.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here. So you said turkey tail. Is that the main thing that you were using? Or are you still doing, like, did you do chemo?
Yes, I am. I did 1 round of radiation. So I've been prescribed 4 rounds of radiation and 17 rounds of chemo.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
I've done 1 round of radiation, and I'm on my 10th round of chemo.
Yeah.
Normally chemo people only do like 3 or 4 rounds, and I'm on my 10th round now. I'm actually on my 2nd kind of chemo that I've been on. The first kind that I was on, I hit the lifetime limit, and I couldn't continue because it did damage my heart. But it's working. All of my bone tumors are stable, shrinking, or completely gone.
Wow.
My primary tumor is gone. And now it's the tumors in my lungs, and those are the worries. But the way my doctor put it is that your lungs are the size of a tennis ball court, and my tumors are smaller than tennis balls. So
wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm positive.
What's your dosing protocol like? Is it Are you making your own? Are you going
No,
with a
I'm on
provider?
the North Spore,
Okay.
but it's a much higher dosage than what's recommended.
Okay.
My friends Chris and Joe actually did a whole bunch of research and told me this is what you should do.
Okay.
And then my palliative care doctor, which he'll actually be here later, Dr. Garner, he recommended that I even bump it higher.
Really?
So I take 4 of their pills every 6 hours.
Okay.
So 4 times a day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I go through a lot of the supplements, but it truly is the difference when my scans, when I do them.
Yeah.
I have positive scans that things are shrinking or they're staying the same versus when I'm not taking the supplements. And they occasionally have me stop them every time I go into the hospital, or because the mushrooms are a little hard on the liver.
Okay.
And so there's times that they occasionally have me pause them, but I start right back up when they give me the go ahead.
Okay.
Honestly, my palliative care doctor, he's been incredible. He's very open minded.
Yeah.
He's very in on the psychedelics for anything, for your brain's an organ too. You got to take care of your brain as much as you got to take care of your body.
Yeah.
And even before cancer, I was on ketamine.
Yeah.
And ketamine's been a huge part of my journey too.
Yeah.
And there's actually been even research saying that ketamine stays off tumor growth.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, and there's a current paper that just came out last month about ketamine and lung cancer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that it can like mitigate like tumor growth or
Yeah.
Wow, wild.
There's another study that I've been looking into too about MDMA and how it actually blows up tumors. It decellulates the fat.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Quite literally blowing them up.
Mm-hmm. Quite
Wild.
literally, yeah. So those are things that I want to do more research into.
Yeah.
But
That's amazing. How are you feeling?
I'm doing okay. I'm 3 days out from chemo right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Hence the mask. I have no immune system.
Yeah. I'm an immunocompromised person myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm upright. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Plan to be here all day. So.
Wow. Yeah. I'm so amazed and happy that you decided to share your story. Is there anything that you would like people to know if maybe they're going through something similar, or if they're interested in more nature-based healing, or if they just also have a family member going through something like this?
Just listen to what feels right to you.
Yeah.
Like, don't listen, even medical stuff, like, even if they know what they're talking about, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't.
Okay.
Trust your gut. Yeah. Honestly, truly. They wanted to put me on, I don't know how many different drugs, nerve this, that. I mean, I'm epileptic and I've tried every single nerve drug as part of my seizure cocktail.
Sure.
And I truly didn't want to go back on anything nerve-wise. And they keep pushing me to go on nerve drugs, and I don't want to. Like, I am prescribed crazy high, like, opioid pain medicines, and I don't even want to take them.
Yeah.
Like, pain's part of the experience, and it doesn't bother me that much.
Really?
But I mean, I'm not medicated right now.
Wow, that's wild.
I mean, other than my turkey tail and.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So you don't take anything for pain, not like CBD or anything?
I have it. I don't necessarily like the CBD because I have cognitive issues, and I don't like how the CBD really lends to more cognitive issues.
Yeah.
I do have the opioids if I need them or want them, and I have taken them, but I try not to, honestly.
Yeah.
They want me taking them every like 4 hours or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's wild.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
They wanted to put me on a fentanyl patch, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I truly think like that kind of stuff lends more to decline than.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you don't come back from that so easily, and
no. I'm
still convinced that I'm coming out the other end of this. So.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm just astounded by you. Honestly, you're a walking miracle right in front of me. Like, I'm very impressed. Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I just turned 40.
Just turned 40. Mm-hmm. Still so young. Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's miserable.
Yeah, well, I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Do you have a Do you have a good community supporting you?
I do.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of people that care really much about me. So.
Yeah. You mentioned like friends who have given you massages and recommended getting you on the turkey tail. How did you find these people?
They're people that we've worked with in the past. So Chris and Joe, the owners of My Cell Mushrooms.
Yeah.
At one point in time, Joe had commissioned some belts for Burning Man from me and my partner Corvus, and it was something like 40 belts, and we had to finish them in like a month. It was crazy.
Gotcha.
And,
belts like to hold your pants up?
Like Obi belts, like decorative belts.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah, and
Yeah.
leather workers. So.
Sure.
And we made them for their fire dance troupe, and they became friends of ours.
Yeah.
And Joe and Chris, like, they truly, like, they won't even let me pay for the turkey tail. Like,
No.
honestly, they just dump it on you.
Yeah.
Chris is like, "You're doing this." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do it."
Thank you. Yeah.
Mushrooms are healing.
Yeah. Wow, that's so amazing. Thank you so much for telling me your story. I really appreciate it. And that's Kat's story. Obviously a super crazy story that I don't think you would hear in a lot of places. Also, nothing that I'm putting on here is supposed to be considered like medical advice, so just take that with a grain of salt. But I think you'll notice there at one point I was really touched by Kat's story, and reached out to hold her hand there for a second, and I don't know. That's not something I would normally do to a stranger, but just something about Kat's story really stuck with me, and was really inspiring. Of there are ways to power through, and that it's just a cool way to experience going through a hard thing, and to feel that through another person is something both really difficult and also really inspiring to pay attention to. So this next story is actually somebody who I'm going to have their face grayed out, but it's kind of the opposite side of the spectrum. Somebody who isn't necessarily using psychedelics for anything related to physical health, but more mental performance and getting over depression, anxiety, which is kind of a more classic story in relation to psychedelics. So they did ask that I blur their face and remove their name, so you might occasionally hear the audio cut out, just so that we're not leaving in any information that this person wanted to be private. So we'll leave it at that. So I won't grab your name because we're going to blur you out in post.
Okay.
But I want to know a little bit about your story. What brought you into the community? Let's start with what was your first psychedelic experience?
Oh, wow. So my first psychedelic experience was going back to my childhood.
Yeah.
In high school.
Okay.
I grew up in Southern California, not too far from Venice Beach.
Okay.
And psychedelics were very readily available there. And we all grew up in kind of like typical white middle class families with a lot of bad communication between parents and siblings, and very functional but dysfunctional at the same time.
Yeah.
And at the time, like in hindsight, looking back on it, I realized we were literally self-medicating ourselves, going through teenage angst. And I look back at like my teenage years and think like, man, I didn't have nearly the struggles that my son is having now.
Yeah.
I see him struggling, and he hasn't had that experience, and I know this, and it's interesting to me because I was self-medicating through this period of my life, and a lot of my friends were, and we just had really wonderful bonding experiences. I'm still friends with all of those people today.
Yeah.
And we still talk about some of the experiences we had. We would go camping. We created this amazing setting up in the mountains of Simi Valley, California, up in Chatsworth area.
Okay.
We had a very special spot that we would go up there and have these experiences, and it was amazing. So I just thought we were getting away with something and doing something fun, not realizing that we were literally there, like providing therapy for ourselves and creating this bonding experience.
Sure.
Setting up our own little sacred circles, essentially, without anyone even teaching us how to do this.
Right.
And hiding it.
Yeah.
Teenagers do.
Yeah.
Fast forward.
So before you move forward,
yeah.
what was it you were doing? Was it just mushrooms
yeah.
or?
Yeah, we were
Okay.
doing mushrooms.
Gotcha.
Just we would get Nathan mushrooms from Venice Beach.
Yeah. Okay.
We convinced someone to give it sell us
Yeah,
some, and we'd go do this thing. It would be maybe anywhere between 5 to 8 of us, sometimes as many as 10 of us.
Yeah.
We'd make a tea with it, and we just lay
Sure.
back and watch the stars and giggle ourselves
Yeah.
throughout the evening.
Absolutely.
And then get quiet for a period as we really got into the experience, and then came out and just felt wonderful the next day. And then we were all chipper and happy, and we were not depressed teenagers like so many kids are these days.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that was kind of that. And then I went through college, and then it was interesting because I kind of went through a whole professional phase where it's like, I don't do drugs. I'm going to, I'm not partying. I don't want to party. I'm really healthy and be
I'm a serious person. I do serious things.
Yeah. Career person. And then I had to raise a family, and honestly, all of that stuff just kind of went away.
Yeah.
And I never really thought much about it again until we had my partner at the time was going through seasonal affection disorder and really suffering here in Utah. And it was really impacting herself, her family, our relationship. And she confronted me and said, "Hey, do you want to try I'm going to try microdosing." And I said, "That's a terrible idea. I don't want that stuff in my house. I don't want it around my kids. This is we have young children. I don't think this is a good idea." And she proved me wrong, thank God.
So what was that? What was the thing that made you change your mind? Because that's a pretty firm I don't want it in the house. I don't want it around my kids.
Right?
Father bear is protecting his territory.
Definitely.
What was the change?
So the change was watching her go through all of the treatments that were available to her through traditional routes, going through medical, trying literally 5 or 6 different antidepressants, seeing how every single one affected her in a very, very negative way. It was not healthy for her to be on these. If they did help her mentally, she had very bad physical symptoms from them, very bad side effects. And I totally agreed with her. I'm like, that's not the route either. And we literally just tried all the things that were available, the traditional classic treatments.
So was it just a last resort?
It was
we've tried everything. We don't know what to
do. You just take care of it. You think that's going to help you? I give up because our relationship was fractioning. It was the kids were being impacted by the kind of conversations we were having from all this negative emotion that's coming out from this disorder that she has. And then so she took them, and then 30 days later, I was a brand new person.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit! That was that was the first time I ever saw it as a medicine. It was this is.
It's not just a party thing
anymore. This is not a party thing. This isn't some recreational fun.
Yeah.
That this was legitimately medicine, and it was done at a microdose level, which I could not believe how effective it was. She went on it. She did her treatment and then stopped, and has gone on back as needed. But there was no withdrawals. All of the antidepressants that she had to take were all you have to wind down. You can't just stop. You might go psychotic. You might want to kill yourself if you take this.
You have to wean yourself off of them because otherwise you're going to go insane.
Right.
Yeah.
So watching her go through that experience kind of changed my mind about wanting to reevaluate this as medicine for myself.
Right.
So at that point, it's kind of I cue back in my brain. I'm like, well, maybe I should I'm going to look at this from a different perspective. I met folks at the church, and I started thinking about this more seriously. And then I recently, a year ago, actually it wasn't even a year ago, it was April of last year, so less than a year, a local therapist here, a licensed therapist that I've been seeing for years, offered me the opportunity to go on a guided journey with him. And that was the first time I've ever experienced true healing through therapy.
Wow.
In a single session, I felt like I did 10 years of therapy.
Yeah.
I looked at him, and it was kind of ironic because I'm like, I feel like you cured me. I feel like we don't even have to talk anymore.
Yeah.
I still see each other monthly. He did a really good guided journey. What was different about this, unlike my childhood experiences or even the younger adult experiences, was the setting.
Yeah.
So I was in a space where I could fully let go. I could go deep into the space. Usually when I was growing up, we're doing something legal. So you always have one foot in reality, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you can never fully give into the medicine.
Yeah.
And that still held true even as like an adult. So when I did take the medicine this time, I knew my therapist had the reality taken care of for me. I was able to go fully in. He provided me with sound and covered my eyes, and I fell deeply into this on 3 grams of mushrooms. I took like the lemon tech style,
Yep.
and 10 minutes I was in, and then I just saw all this trauma that we had talked about together for years. Like, I've seen him for like 5 years. All these different triggering experiences that would bring me to tears if I even talked about him. Childhood trauma, watching my brother pass away, like watching my mom pass away. All these things that like were really deeply impactful on me. That one journey let me see all of those experiences in a positive light. Sorry.
You're good.
It's joyful. It's like it's a joyful experience, and so I was able to see, and even the relationship I have with like my father, for example, which had gone really south in the past few years with all of this political drama to the point where I couldn't talk to him anymore. I was able to see our relationship, all the negative things that I just dwelled on and spiraled on. It didn't matter anymore. And I was able to see him from a different perspective. And so I basically was seeing these horrific moments in my life with a positive spin on it, if that makes any sense. Like, I was able to look at them for what they were. Before, I was looking at them with like a sense of fear.
Yeah.
And as I approached them, my body would start to respond to that and start to trigger. I'd become triggered by it. I would break down. But this was very different. This was like, let's go zoom in on this. Like, and my brain would, kind of fall into these beautiful spaces. Like, it was just so beautiful. I think that's kind of the triggering, how I was able to approach it. Is like, the experience itself was so beautiful. The lights, the colors, the sound that I was hearing. I wanted to be in that space so badly.
Yeah.
And then because I had my therapist there, all of the things that we had talked about came forward.
Yeah.
And I even heard voices in my head saying, Chris, do the work. Do the work.
Wow.
My therapist literally said 0 words the entire time. His only role was to be present and to keep the music going. And he told me straight up, like, if you need a hand to hold, I'm here. You can reach out and grab me.
Yeah.
I'm blindfolded, and I've got hearing, so I'm kind of in my own world. But just knowing that he was there allowed me to go fully into this space and let go of reality. And then because he was there, those moments that we have kept coming up, like this situation, and then instead of it being like I'm running away from these emotions, it was like, bring them on. Let's take a look at the next thing. Like, we looked at this, like this horrible thing that happened, and I could never approach it. Here I am looking at it, and it's beautiful. Like, it's the weirdest thing to say is to, like, here's this trauma that has crushed my soul for so long, but then to be able to look at it as a thing of beauty in its own right. And it's like, it sounds bizarre, but my brain was able to reprocess that. And then when we did therapy sessions post, like when we did journey work, when we did integration work post that experience, I was able to talk about every single one of these experiences that we would do tapping therapy to kind of bring my system back into alignment, and bring my nervous system back into alignment. And here I was just like, let's talk about this. He's like, what do you think about it? I'm like, this is so weird. Like, it's not bringing any of that trauma up anymore. I'm not feeling like breaking down. I don't feel this sense of anxiety that would come up. It just went away. And in a single session. And so I feel like it changed my relationship with my therapist, because I don't bear this burden of trauma that I'm like thrown on him. And I still, like, life is life, and so we still meet fairly regularly. But I now feel like I have a place to go when I have something terribly traumatic to deal with. And that's what mushrooms have become for me now. Is not an escape. It's just a place of beauty where I can go process these newer things that come up in my life. So that's kind of
that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. There's so many things that come to mind. The first one is that I've kind of heard this, that in therapy, you have to, like, therapists are trained to work with you to get you to a point where you're just comfortable in the space to be able to go through and work through hard things. But that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it sounds like from your experience, psychedelics were able to kind of that 10 years of therapy in a day, right?
It was like a fast
transcend
forward.
that and go, all right, we're going to force you to look at this right now, but without all of those immediate feelings of fear, overwhelm, anxiety, depression, whatever it was that normally came up for you. Does that feel like a...
Yeah, because normally we would focus on a specific event in my life, and we would go through it. We would talk about the experience to the point where I became triggered. My body would start to shut down, and then we'd back off, and then we talk about it again, and then do tapping to bring myself back in alignment with being here. And then with the mushrooms, it was like bam, 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 bam. Like, look at this. What, like, and it just I zoomed, like, time was compressed.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was in this space for, I felt like, I couldn't tell you actually. It felt like infinite amount of time. Like, I had no sense of time in that.
Do you know what the dosage was?
Yeah, it was 3 grams.
Okay, 3. Okay.
Yeah, and so
was it synthetic or was
no,
it?
it was
Okay.
Manna from Heaven is the strain.
Okay, gotcha.
It's a beautiful strain.
Gotcha.
Like, and I think that's what made it so amazing, was that, like, one, like, you were in this space of beauty.
Yeah.
And then it's so beautiful, like, so beautiful, that no matter what ugly thing you could put in front of me,
yeah,
I would see some kind of beauty in it. Like,
wow.
As horrific as it is. Like,
yeah.
Being in a space where your mind is in such a positive space that you can then approach things, and you realize death is organic, it's natural, this is a living natural process, we're all going to succumb to it.
Mm-hmm.
The things that you may have experienced in watching that happen were terrible because of someone you loved. You saw someone leave, but being able to then experience, like, all the wonderful things about that person, because when you shut down over these traumatic events, you block everything out. You don't block out just the bad stuff. You block out all the good stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to revisit all the happy moments that I had been missing out on too.
Yeah. Another part that I wanted to address in your story, and we were talking a little bit about this off camera, but you're fairly successful in the realm of business and finance and everything. I feel like that kind of goes counter to the stereotype of people that do psychedelics and right, like there's the classic 70s psychedelics taker, right?
I think there's actually, it's getting to the point now in Silicon Valley where there's a stereotype for psychedelics.
Yeah, for sure.
I know many executives, people at executive levels in very big companies who are finding refuge in psychedelics right now because they're under these incredibly stressful situations.
Yeah.
Managing hundreds, sometimes thousands of people, and taking the burden of these people's lives in their hands, and having to make some pretty tough decisions that may or may not make them feel good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And doing that repeatedly on a day-to-day basis. And I think psychedelics also help to deal with some of that trauma, and it also allows them to be empathetic. So I think there's definitely a stereotype happening in the Valley right now. Of people becoming healthy again, because you go through a burnout stage a lot of the times. You go through these experiences where you're like, okay, I just have to get over this hump. I just get over this business goal, and then we can take a breather,
and then I can be okay.
But sometimes that doesn't happen for a long time,
right?
But you're still expected to show up and be at your game, at the top of your game. And how can you do that when you're just mentally breaking down over a lot of these things that are just, the trauma is building up in the back of your brain? And so I find that psychedelics really let you go process stuff in fast forward, like I did my own personal journey, but for even like work-related stress.
Sure.
So being able to process them and then go check out for a weekend and come back on, and you're on your A game.
Yeah. So Monday. Do you think there's a place for it, for healthy psychedelic use in the business world for business professionals?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think there's definitely, I think the stigma is rapidly going away as more and more people talk about it, as more and more people experience the healing that comes with it.
Yeah. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah. No, it's actually, it's like no one, I think no one will ever come forward and say like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
but in the back rooms, like, you're really happy today. What?
Yeah.
You were miserable on Friday. Like, what changed?
What's going on? Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, well, I did this thing. And you're like, oh, wow, okay. And then you start having this conversation about what that experience was like. And you realize very quickly, like, one, this was not like, oh, you went and partied all weekend with, you know, you went on a binger or something. Like, no, you went and took care of your mental health, and you did it in a fast forward kind of way. But coming back, you see a glow. It's like a glow on people's faces, and you're like, something changed.
Yeah, that's been my experience too. I've worked around people, and I'll be careful not to make it clear who they are, but who psychedelics and having a healing process, whether that's ketamine therapy, where they're like in a Utah sanctioned ketamine therapy place, or they're going and doing these retreats in Peru, or they're doing ayahuasca retreats, or they just have medical marijuana available at their disposal to deal with stress. It seems like it's becoming a lot more commonplace for people who are very successful millionaires, who are like, yeah, you know what? At a certain point, you just need to be able to manage and work through hard things when they come up. And this is my avenue of doing that. One of the avenues I use to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny because like I personally haven't done ayahuasca just because I'm on a medication that is sensitive to it.
Same. The pooping myself in public in front of other people kind of turned me off to it.
For me originally it was like the vomiting. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to vomit for hours. But I had a friend of mine who's very successful venture capitalist. He's like, oh no, Chris, like the vomiting is actually a good thing. It's like it's, you're releasing, you're letting go, and she says he actually looks forward to that stage. And I'm like,
see, I've heard that, but I'm like, I'm
still not on board with that.
I'm not sure.
And then I've tried ketamine. Ketamine for me, it's funny. Like if you ever asked me what the description of like what it's like to be on ketamine, I'm like, you know, when you grew up and they told you you're on drugs, that's ketamine. Like you feel like you're on a drug. You feel like you're on drugs. And for me, ketamine actually is not a good, like it's not a good space for me to be in. It does have some benefits. I do feel like after that experience, I feel like, oh, there's definitely been some healing, but for me, ketamine is actually kind of a rough experience. I am not necessarily a fan of it.
Gotcha.
Whereas I find with psilocybin specifically, for me, that's the medicine. Like I take it, I go through this beautiful experience, and then I come out feeling wonderful afterwards. And I think a lot of that too is also the lemon tech methodology. I think because like I'm actually very sensitive to eating the mushroom, but doing the lemon tech, I don't experience any stomach discomfort, which I traditionally do. I also don't feel like when I eat the mushrooms, I used to get very cold, and for about 30 minutes, I'm like, this is just such a rough ride. But the lemon tech method, I've experienced none of that. So.
Gotcha. So we've talked a lot about psychedelics in the realm of like mental health and healing in that regard. But a lot of this event is focused more on spirituality, community, connection. Was there at any point where that became kind of a center point of psychedelics for you, as the sense of spirituality and connection to divinity?
So that's where it's interesting. So like I didn't really get into it during like, talking about the therapy session, but that therapy section was actually also very spiritual. I had some really interesting things happen. You know, I'm big into technology and science, and always reading about quantum mechanics and understanding how quantum computers work. And you start reading about how different states exist and how they can coexist and how they can be aware of each other even though they're not in the same space.
Fascinating.
It's fascinating stuff.
It's so cool.
Like so wild. And that was the first time I feel like I experienced like a quantum experience inside on mushrooms, which is where I call it that for me was a spiritual experience, because I hadn't talked to my dad in 18 months. And then I had this incredible experience where I reevaluated my entire relationship with him. Felt like hours, probably was a minute and a half long. But I felt like I reconnected with him in that moment. And I saw my sisters in that moment too. And I just had this whole wonderful experience. And I felt like I'd reached out to them. I felt like I'd connected with them. Like during that session, I hadn't talked to my dad. I hadn't talked to my sister. During that session though, my sister texted me about my dad, how he was now talking about me. Like literally in the middle of this session, like this stuff is coming up.
Wow.
As if I had connected with him in reality. And in a lot of ways, I feel like I did. And that's where it's good. For me, that's where the spiritual side of things come in. It's like there is some type of divine activity. Maybe I'm engaging on the quantum state of things. Maybe I'm on this spiritual plane. Maybe spirituality and quantumness are interconnected, which I think they are after this experience.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a very spiritual moment as well. So it was not only healing, but it was also like showing me a whole nother level of interconnectedness that happenstance. I don't know. Like you haven't talked to someone for 18 months, and all of a sudden you're having this deep, incredibly deep experience, and then they re-engage with you. Like that's
pretty powerful.
It's kind of hard to walk away from that and be like, no, that was just randomness.
That is so cool.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, pretty wild stuff. Okay, that's all the stuff that I wanted to ask you. If there's anybody who's watching this who maybe hasn't done psychedelics before or is just kind of curious about the community, is there anything that you want to impress them with, that you want to leave and get your message out into the world about this community?
Yeah, I would say this is definitely medicine. If you're struggling and you've tried a lot of different options, like I did, like my partner did, definitely it's worth exploring. Be safe. Be really safe about how you go about doing it.
Be safe.
Don't decide that you're going to take a whole bunch of mushrooms by yourself in your house
alone.
Not a good idea.
Yeah.
Find a community, find an organization like the Divine Assembly, or find a local therapist who's offering this kind of service, and make sure that they're also safe. Make sure that they have protocols in place. Make sure that the setting is correct, because that is a huge piece of this. Like the fact that my journey was successful with my therapist was because we had a space that we had quarantined off.
Yeah.
And I had 100%, like I knew I would not be interrupted.
Yeah.
The music, he had a playlist that was just like, the music is half of it. Like music was just allowing my mind to be in a safe space so that if I did start to spiral, the music would then shift me out of that spiral.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so they definitely have someone with you and be safe.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. There are so many more interviews that are so good, and I'm so excited to share them all with you. But this video is already super long, and I don't want to waste your guys' time. So I'm going to get this video out, and then I'm also going to start uploading some of the additional conversations that I had with just amazing people who had really cool experiences and value to share about their experience using psychedelics as part of a spiritual practice, as part of a mental health practice, and some people who even are just like, dude, we're doing drugs. That's what's going on right now, and we need to be honest about it. So I think this is a really cool topic. I'm going to continue to upload content about this. I'll put it in a separate playlist, so keep an eye out for that for when it drops. Leave a comment. I'm so interested. What do you guys think of this kind of underground psychedelic spirituality community? Thanks. See ya.